So Mahendra Singh Dhoni was walking back from a press conference, who I wish to thank very deeply. I would be indebted for the rest of my life to Mahendra Singh Dhoni for what he gave me. But I had sat through 2008, and somewhere in that particular season I was a no one then. Where am I to play in a team that had Muthaiya Muralidharan? Mr. N. Srinivasan then was an office bearer in the BCCI. If I'm not wrong, sir, you might have been the treasurer or the secretary. I think he was a treasurer. So Mahendra Singh Dhoni was walking back from a press conference, who I wish to thank very deeply. I would be indebted for the rest of my life to Mahendra Singh Dhoni for what he gave me. He gave me an opportunity with the new ball to go head on against Chris Gale, to probably know 17 years later that Anil Bhai would be talking about that particular episode. And I'm truly grateful for that. He was walking back with his usual, people around him. There were a lot of people. I'm not sure Dr. Baba was still hanging around. He might have not been there. He was not the media manager then. He was coming back, and I was catching balls that Jacob Horam was stonking from the center of the pitch. I was catching it with the mitt. I'd never seen a baseball mitt till then. So I thought I'll catch it with it. It was relatively easy than catching with two hands. And Mr. Srinivasan out of nowhere jumped out. He was wearing this, I think he was wearing probably one of these overcoats, and he just walked in. He said, MS, that's how he addressed him at that point of time. And he looked at him and he said, there is a boy called Ashwin. He bowls off-spin and he is very good for Tamil Nadu. I think you should have a look at him. And he looked at sir and said, yes sir, I will look at him. The conversation ended. But I still very, very clearly remember that moment and several other moments from there on. He called me in 2013 and said, they wanted to drop you, but I put my foot down and said, he was the player of the series in the last series. We need to continue with him. If you want, play two off spinners. And that was my first game of having played with Harbhajan Singh in this wonderful ground. I played head on with him in a test match, knowing what it stood for me. And several years later, he recalls every one of those moments. I'm just astonished at the kind of memory he still holds with himself. I would again be failing in my duties if I didn't refer to Anil Bhai at all in this conversation. Several moments we've had when he was the coach of the team. Anil Bhai is one of those interestingly wonderful souls that I've met. He's so insightful, knows the game inside out, completely honest, but yet would never hurt anyone in a conversation. That's one lesson I learned from him, because I'm honest to a point where I can hurt people. And since I met Anil Kumble and worked with Rahul Dravid and worked with Rohit Sharma and several other people, I've understood when you make conversations that you don't necessarily hurt people and you can get on the other side. Life truly is a very enjoyable journey when you come across such wonderful people and learn from them. I'd also like to thank one wonderful person that was my first ever first class team captain, Subramanian Badrinath, sitting in the front row here. 3 days before, I mentioned to my wife, Balabhai messaged me and congratulated me. Badri did not do it. I'm so sad. Usually he's the first one to do it, but he is present here. That tells me I'm so glad, Badri, that you could make it here. I'm so glad. Balabhai was the first one who told me, Ashwin, there have been several good cricketers, and I think you're as good as Kapil Dev. This was the year 2006. And he told me the day you pick up a 5-wicket haul and make 100 in a first-class game is the day I would truly think you're on the way to playing for India. The game was against Railways here at Chepauk, and I picked up 5 in the game and got 100. And Balabhai said, you're not looking back from here onwards.